At Thanksgiving, my sister mocked, "Still single, maybe you're not man enough," while my parents and her husband laughed. I said, "I'm already married." When my wife walked in, her husband went pale and whispered, "Wait, that's your wife?" He apologized and melted down. Hey, Reddit. My family always treated my sister like gold and me like an afterthought. So I stopped playing along, built my own life, and kept my distance. But they weren't done humiliating me yet. Before we get to that, let me start from the beginning. I'd driven 2 hours from the city for this. 2 hours knowing exactly what I was walking into. Some guys never learn. For about 10 minutes, it was almost normal. Dad asked about the weather on the drive down. Mom fussed with serving dishes. Natasha complained about traffic on their route. Garrett nodded along, playing the supportive husband. I started thinking maybe this year would be different. Maybe they'd matured. Maybe I could relax and just eat turkey without bracing for impact. That lasted exactly until Natasha set down her wine glass. "So, Kyle," my sister started. That fake, sweet voice she'd perfected over 31 years. Her ring set caught the light, the kind you wear to be noticed. "Still playing house with those little properties?" Her husband Garrett smiled. "Real estate's tough right now, isn't it? All those interest rates. Must be hard to close anything." I cut into my dry turkey. Didn't take the bait. "Kyle's doing fine," Dad said, but his tone had that apologetic edge. "He sold that commercial building downtown last month." Mom said, "But honey, when are you going to settle down? Find a nice girl? You're 33. Your sister was married at 27. There it was. The comparison. "Yeah, Kyle?" Natasha leaned forward. "What's the holdup? Still scared of commitment?" Garrett laughed. Dad looked at his plate. Mom didn't shut it down. "Some people are just meant to be alone," Natasha continued. "Nothing wrong with that. Well, maybe a little weird at your age." "Natasha," Dad said quietly, no force behind it. "What?" "He's been single for like 4 years. That's concerning. People talk." Mom nodded. "They do ask, Kyle. It's awkward when I don't have answers. The church ladies, my book club." I took a sip of wine. "Cheap stuff." "Maybe he's just picky," Garrett offered. "Even if the standards are unrealistic." The insults kept coming, and everyone nodded along like this was normal. "Natasha, that's enough," Dad said. "No teeth, just words. I'm worried about him." "We all are. Right, Mom?" Mom patted my hand, pity mixed with embarrassment. "We just want you to be happy, sweetie, to have what Natasha and Garrett have." I set down my fork. This was the game. Natasha got to be golden. I got to be the project. "You know what's funny?" I said. I was going to wait until after dinner, but since we're all so concerned about my future, I pulled out my phone, set it on the table. "I'm married. Have been for 7 months. June 7th. Her name's Iris. She's a dentist. She'll be here when she's done with her emergency patient." The silence hit like a physical thing. "You're what?" Mom managed. "Married. We had a ceremony. Real nice venue by the water. Her family was there. About 80 people total." "That's impossible," Natasha said. "We would have gotten invitations." I pulled up the tracking confirmations. I mailed every envelope to Mom and Dad's house, each one addressed to the specific person, because that's where everyone's mail ends up when there's a big family thing. I figured you'd hand them out like you always do. Someone at Mom and Dad's house signed for everyone back in March. Want to guess whose signature? I zoomed in. Natasha's handwriting. "That's your signature, Natasha." They came in one batch. Same delivery. Dad found his voice. "Kyle, we never received any invitations. If we had, of course we would have been there. I addressed one to each of you. Mom, Dad, Natasha, Aunt Kelly, Grandma, then mailed them all to this house. All delivered March 22nd. All signed for by Natasha when she stopped by that morning." "I don't remember that," Natasha said quickly. Too quickly. I called Mom that same afternoon, asked if she got the invitation. She said no mail came except some home decor catalogs. Weird, right? Since tracking showed delivery at 10:18 a.m., Mom's face went white. I don't recall that conversation. I called 4 more times over the next 3 weeks, left voicemails, sent emails to the family account, texted the group chat. Nothing. Radio silence. So I figured, you know what? I needed to see it with my own eyes, whether you'd ever treat me like family. "This is ridiculous," Natasha snapped. "You're making this up to cause drama." I kept the proof because I knew you'd deny it. The front door opened. Footsteps in the hallway. "That'll be Iris," I said. "She's covering a friend's practice out here this week. Had an emergency root canal that went long." Iris walked into the dining room still in her work clothes. Professional, but tired. Dark hair pulled back, minimal makeup, natural confidence. "Sorry I'm late," she said. "Endodontic nightmare. Guy waited 6 months and the infection..." She stopped, reading the room. "Am I interrupting something?" The silence stretched. Mom's face cycled through a few expressions fast. Surprise, confusion, forced smile, then that bright happiness she used at church functions. Dad started to stand, knocked his water glass with his elbow, caught it halfway, sat back down hard. Natasha went completely still. That calculating look she got when something didn't fit her script. I watched her eyes flick from Iris to me, to her parents, and back. Iris noticed all of it. I saw the subtle shift in her posture. Professional politeness locked in like armor. Perfect timing, I said. Iris, this is my family. Mom, Dad, Sister Natasha, her husband Garrett. Everyone, this is my wife, Dr. Iris Winters. The introduction landed like a bomb. Iris smiled, polite but not warm. Oh my God, Mom recovered first, voice jumping 3 octaves. Kyle's married. This is wonderful. Why didn't you tell us? I did. 7 months ago. Sent you invitations. Natasha was staring. Winters, are you related to Dr. Winters at Mercy General? That's my father, Iris said evenly. Orthopedic surgery, chief of staff. I watched Garrett's face drain. And your mother? Garrett asked carefully. Dr. Caroline Winters, neurosurgeon. She's on the board at Mercy and St. Vincent's. Garrett stood so fast his chair scraped. Dr. Winters? Iris? I apologize, I didn't realize. We've met. At the hospital fundraiser. I'm Garrett Hills, a senior general surgery resident under Dr. Morrison. Whole demeanor shifted. Resident suddenly aware he'd been mocking the chief's daughter. I remember, Iris said. You were charming then too. I'm sorry if anything earlier came across as... It came across exactly how you meant it. Let's not pretend otherwise. Natasha found her voice. This is very sudden. 7 months? And we're just meeting her? That seems secretive. You got an invitation. You threw it away. Pretty simple. I did no such thing. March 22nd, 10:18 a.m. Your signature. Mom jumped in. Let's not dwell on the past. Iris, dear, welcome to the family. We're so happy to have you. We should do lunch, just us girls. Iris smiled. No warmth. I'm pretty booked. Of course, of course. A dentist. How impressive. And your parents are doctors too? We'd love to meet them. The shift was instant. 5 minutes ago, I was the weird loner. Now I was acceptable. Now they wanted everything. Dad extended his hand. Welcome, Iris. We wish we could have been there. There must have been some mix-up with the mail. Yeah, I said. Mix-up. You know what? Iris asked. I've been hearing about this family for months. How nothing Kyle did was ever good enough. How his sister got everything while he had to prove himself at every turn. And now I'm watching it happen in real time. Mom's smile cracked. I don't know what Kyle's told you. The truth. He told me the truth. And then I watched you prove it in 5 minutes. Garrett was sweating. Dr. Winters, please, we didn't know who you were. So you're only respectful to people who can affect your career? That says a lot about you, and none of it is good. Natasha stood. I don't know who you think you are. I'm Kyle's wife, the person who shows up for him, the person who doesn't need him to marry up to validate his existence. Silence. The kind that comes before something breaks. Maybe we should all take a breath, Dad tried. And what? I cut him off. Pretend you all didn't spend the last hour treating me like a charity case? Pretend Natasha didn't throw away my wedding invitations? I'm sure it was a misunderstanding, Dad said. It wasn't. You've known for years that Natasha gets whatever she wants and I get leftovers. You just never cared enough to stop it. Mom's voice went cold. That's not fair. What's not fair is having to drive 2 hours to get insulted, only to reveal I'm married and watch you flip like a switch because my wife's family has status. What's not fair is 33 years of being the backup child. I stood. Iris grabbed her bag. We're leaving. Thanks for dinner. Kyle, wait, Mom started. No, I'm done waiting. Done performing for an audience that doesn't like the show. You want to know why you weren't at my wedding? Because you didn't deserve to be there. We were at the door when Natasha's voice cut through. You're making a huge mistake. I turned back. Watch me. We were halfway to my truck when Dad came out the side door, moving faster than I'd seen him move in years. The porch light caught him at an angle that made him look older, more tired. Kyle, hold on. Just hold on a second. I stopped. The parking lot was cold. November wind cutting through my jacket. Iris kept walking, giving us space but staying close enough to intervene if needed. Her breath made clouds in the air. What, Dad? Don't do this. Don't blow up the family over a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding, I repeated. Tasted the word. Let it sit there bitter in my mouth. That's what we're calling it? You know how your sister is. She probably didn't even realize what she was doing. She gets focused on her own life and throws away my wedding invitations because she couldn't stand me getting married first? Yeah, Dad. I know exactly how she is. The question is, why don't you? He ran his hand through his thinning hair. Older now, more gray than brown, tired. The lines around his eyes deeper than I remembered. He looked like he'd aged fast. I'm trying to keep the peace here. No, you're trying to avoid conflict. There's a difference. Keeping the peace would have been telling Natasha to knock it off years ago. What you do? That's not peacekeeping. That's enabling. She's your sister. And I'm your son. But I've never seen you defend me the way you defend her. Not once. Not ever. He looked away. Couldn't meet my eyes. That told me everything I needed to know. Your mother's going to be devastated, he tried, switching tactics. Mom's going to be embarrassed. Not the same thing. She's not devastated. I got married without her. She's devastated that people know she got uninvited to her own son's wedding. Kyle, let me ask you something, Dad. Be honest. In the last 5 years, how many times have you called me just to see how I was doing? Not because you needed something fixed. Not because it was my birthday or a holiday. Just because you wanted to talk to your son. He stared at the ground. Didn't answer. That's what I thought. But I bet you can't count how many times you've called Natasha just to chat. She's going through a lot with her career and... Stop. Just stop. You know what the saddest part is? I actually convinced myself that if I just achieved enough, earned enough, proved myself enough, you'd finally see me the same way you see her. But it's never going to happen, is it? That's not true. It is. And we both know it. The only reason you're out here right now is because Iris's last name carries weight, and you're afraid of what it means if we cut contact. His face tightened. Got that defensive look he always got when confronted. You're twisting things. Fair. You want to talk about fair? How about the fact that Natasha's husband spent an hour mocking me, but the second he found out who Iris was, he practically got on his knees? We never made you... You did. Every single day. With every comparison. Every excuse you made for her. Every time you celebrated her victories and tolerated mine. Iris's voice carried across the parking lot. Kyle, we should go. Dad grabbed my arm. Not hard, just enough to make me stop. Please, don't leave like this. Come back inside. We can talk this through. No, we can't. Because talking requires listening, and you've been hearing me for 33 years without actually listening once. I pulled my arm free. Started walking again. If you leave now, you're choosing her over your family. Dad called out, anger creeping in. I stopped, turned back one last time. No, Dad. You all chose Natasha over me a long time ago. When I was 8 and she got the bigger room. When I was 12 and you missed my science fair because she had cheerleading. When I was 16 and you spent my college fund on her sorority dues. When I was 25, and you asked me to skip my own promotion dinner to help her move. Every single time, you chose her. I'm just finally accepting it. We did the best we could, he said, and his voice cracked. No, you did what was easiest. There's a difference. I got in my truck. Iris was already buckled in, face calm but eyes sharp. She'd seen everything, heard everything. The drive back was quiet. 2 hours of highway, headlights cutting through dark. The radio stayed off. Just the sound of tires on asphalt and the occasional semi passing us. About 20 minutes in, somewhere between the suburbs and actual darkness, she reached over and took my hand. Didn't say anything. Didn't need to. Her thumb traced circles on my knuckles. You okay? She finally asked. Yeah. No. I don't know. That was rough. That was them on a good day. She squeezed my hand. Didn't let go. You know they're going to try to fix this, right? They're going to call, text, show up. Your mom's probably already composing an email in her head about how you misunderstood everything. Let them try. What are you going to do? Nothing. I'm going to do exactly nothing. No contact, no explanations, no second chances. They want a relationship with me. They can prove they've changed. Until then, I'm done. Good. 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 You deserve better. You've always deserved better. My phone started buzzing before we even hit the highway. Mom. Then Natasha. Then Dad. Then Mom again. The screen lit up the dark cab. I turned the phone off. Screen went black. They're going to lose their minds, Iris said. Good. Maybe it'll teach them something. It wouldn't. I knew it wouldn't, but at least I'd finally stood up. The texts started the next morning. Mom first, long paragraph about how hurt she was, how I'd embarrassed the family. Then Natasha, shorter but nastier. Called me manipulative. Said Iris seemed cold and arrogant. Then came the weird ones. Natasha sent a friend request to Iris's professional Instagram. Mom tried calling Iris's clinic, asking to speak with her about a family emergency. The receptionist told Mom the doctor didn't take personal calls during work hours. 3 days after Thanksgiving, Natasha showed up at my open house. I was showing a couple through the master bedroom when I saw her walk in. Dressed like she was going to brunch, sunglasses on even though it was overcast. I was mid-sentence. And the closet's been updated with custom shelving. Plenty of natural light from the skylight. The husband was nodding. taking mental notes. His wife had her phone out, snapping photos of the corner windows. Then I spotted Natasha through the doorway. That walk, that swagger like she owned every room she walked into. I kept my work voice smooth. The master bath connects through here. Original tile work completely restored. Guided them toward the bathroom, away from whatever scene was about to happen. Joel caught my eye from downstairs, saw Natasha, saw my face, started moving. The wife glanced past me, saw Natasha standing in the foyer like she owned the place. Is that another agent? Family, I said. Excuse me for just one moment. Joel will show you the rest. Kyle, Natasha called out, voice carrying through the whole house. There you are! I excused myself from the clients. Met her in the hallway. What are you doing here? We need to talk. No, we don't. You need to leave. This is a business event. I'm your sister. You can't just shut me out. Watch me. You're not a client, you're not invited, and you're disrupting my open house. Leave. She didn't move. Stood there like I'd backed down. Like I always backed down. You've changed, she said, and it wasn't a compliment. No. I just stopped pretending I didn't notice how you treated me. I never? You threw away my wedding invitation. You spent Thanksgiving calling me out. You've spent years making me the family joke. And now you're mad because I'm not playing along anymore. A couple walked past us. Natasha lowered her voice. This is about her, isn't it? Iris. She's turning you against us. Iris didn't have to turn me against anything. You did that all by yourself. She's not even that great, Natasha hissed. And her personality? Ice cold. Garrett said she was rude. Garrett was terrified because he realized he'd been mocking the chief of staff's daughter. My partner Joel appeared at the end of the hallway, gave me a look that said, handle this. You need to go, I told Natasha. Now. Fine. But don't come crying to us when your perfect marriage falls apart. She left, slamming the door hard enough that everyone heard it. Joel walked over. That your sister? Unfortunately. She seems pleasant. After they left, Joel pulled up the doorbell camera footage. You want this? The camera had caught everything. Her arrival. Our hallway conversation. Her slamming the door. Send it to me, I said, just in case. That night, Mom posted on Facebook about how her son had chosen outsiders over family, painted herself as the victim, got sympathy comments from people who didn't know the full story. Then Natasha posted her own version about how I'd ambushed them with a wife they'd never met, how Iris had been hostile. I didn't respond. Let them spin whatever narrative they wanted. Iris saw the posts. They're trying to control the story. Let them. Anyone who knows me knows it's garbage. Iris's phone rang. She looked at the screen, raised an eyebrow. My mom, she answered. Hi, Mom. Pause. Yeah, I saw it. Longer pause. No, they didn't invite us to anything. They didn't even know I existed until last week. Another pause. Yeah, I thought you might say that. She hung up. My mother wants to meet your parents. That's a bad idea. That's what I said. She's doing it anyway. Lunch next week. She made it clear she wanted the conversation. And your mom agreed, because she didn't want to look like the one refusing. Oh, this is going to be a disaster. Yep. The lunch happened downtown. Upscale place where the prices aren't on the menu and the waiters wear vests. The kind of restaurant where doctors meet to discuss hospital politics over ridiculously overpriced salmon. I wasn't there. But Iris's mom gave her the play-by-play that same afternoon. According to Iris's mom, Caroline, it went exactly as expected. Mom showed up 10 minutes early, already seated when Caroline arrived, ordered sparkling water, practiced her smile. The whole performance. She tried to bond, talked about how excited she was to finally meet Iris's parents, how she'd heard so much about their work at the hospital, how wonderful it must be to have such an accomplished daughter, that bright, performative energy she used at church function. Caroline let her talk for about 5 minutes before cutting in. I understand you didn't know Iris existed until last week. Mom's smile froze. Well, there was a miscommunication with the wedding invitation. There was no miscommunication. Your daughter intercepted and discarded the invitations. Your son attempted contact multiple times. You ignored him. That's not exactly... It's exactly what happened. Kyle showed me the documentation. Time-stamped emails, call logs, tracking confirmation, your daughter's signature. My mother tried the concerned parent angle. I think Kyle's overreacting. Young couples sometimes create drama. What I understand, Caroline said, is that my daughter married a man whose family treated him as an afterthought until they discovered his wife had social capital. And now you're trying to attach yourself to our family name to repair your reputation. I'm here to clarify that won't be happening. Iris said her mom delivered it like discussing surgical procedure. Calm, clinical, factual. Mom tried to defend herself, said she loved both her children equally, said this was all a misunderstanding blown out of proportion. Caroline cut her off. This one is very simple. You enabled your daughter's cruelty toward your son. You prioritized reputation over relationship. You lost access to him. Those are consequences, not complications. Then she stood up, put cash on the table for her untouched coffee, and left. By that night, the story had already spread through the family grapevine. The group chat exploded. Aunt Kelly defending Mom. Uncle Steve saying everyone needed to calm down. Then Garrett weighed in. This is getting out of hand. Kyle needs to control his wife. That message got screenshot and sent around before Garrett realized his mistake. 2 days later, my phone rang. Uncle Lee, Dad's older brother, retired Army colonel. Kyle, it's Lee. Hey, Uncle Lee. I saw the group chat. Saw what went down at Thanksgiving. Need to say something. I waited. I've watched your parents treat you like the backup kid for 20 years. Your father's a coward who can't handle conflict. Your mother's addicted to appearances. Your sister's a spoiled brat. And Garrett's an idiot who just torpedoed his own career with that control comment. I didn't know what to say. You did the right thing walking away. Don't let anyone guilt you back. They never showed up for you, Kyle. Not once when it mattered. Thanks, Lee. I mean it. You need anything, you call me. And tell Iris her mother's got steel in her spine. He hung up. Iris found out about the control his wife comment from her father. Richard called her, voice tight. Is it true your brother-in-law thinks women need to be controlled? That's what he said in the family group chat. Richard didn't yell, didn't threaten, just said, interesting, in a tone that made professional futures start evaporating. 3 days later, Natasha showed up at Iris's clinic. The receptionist, Amy, told us about it later over coffee. Iris wanted the full story. Amy delivered it with the precision of someone who'd been dealing with difficult people for a decade. Natasha walked in mid-morning, no appointment, wearing designer sunglasses inside. Demanded to see Iris immediately. Amy politely explained that Dr. Winters was with a patient and running behind schedule. I'm family, Natasha said, like that word was a magic spell. Doctor, Winters has no family appointments scheduled today. I don't need an appointment. I'm her sister-in-law. I'll let the doctor know you stop by when she's available. Natasha didn't leave, stood in the waiting room, checked her phone, sighed loud enough for everyone to hear. The other patients, 3 of them, started noticing. An older man with a toothache, a woman with her teenage daughter, another woman reading a magazine. Amy stayed professional, kept her voice level. Natasha got louder. This is unbelievable. I drove all the way out here. The teenage girl looked up from her phone. Her mom gave Natasha that look mothers give entitled adults acting like children. Amy called the office manager. Rosalie appeared, 50-something, gray hair, the kind of woman who'd seen everything twice. Ma'am, you need to either schedule an appointment or leave. This is ridiculous. I just need 5 minutes. Then schedule an appointment for 5 minutes. Natasha tried escalating. Threatened to file a complaint. Said her husband was a surgeon at Mercy General and had connections. Rosalie didn't blink, didn't move, just stood there with the energy of someone who'd outlasted 1,000 difficult people. Ma'am, if you don't leave now, I'm calling security. Natasha left, but not before making sure the entire waiting room heard her exit speech. My brother married into this family, and now his wife thinks she's too good for us. The older man with the toothache muttered something about manners. The mother shook her head. Amy documented the entire incident in the system. Time, date, exact quotes. Flagged Natasha's name with a note. Do not schedule. Contact office manager if calls. When Iris found out, she wasn't angry. She was amused. She actually said, do you know who I am? Word for word. I love Rosalie. I asked Iris if she wanted me to do anything. She shook her head. They're doing all the work for us. All we have to do is exist, and they keep making it worse. She was right. Garrett's control his wife comment made its way to someone at the hospital. A colleague saw the screenshot after it got forwarded around by family friends. He'd already built a reputation for dismissive comments in the operating room. A nurse had filed a complaint after a separate incident. The screenshot just made people stop giving him the benefit of the doubt. Garrett started getting assigned to less desirable rotations. Nothing official. Nothing he could point to. Just subtle shifts. The good cases going to other residents. The teaching moments given to colleagues. He knew why. Everyone knew why. But nobody said it out loud. 2 months after Thanksgiving, Garrett had to present a case to the Surgical Review Committee. Richard Winters was on that committee. Iris heard about it from her father that night over dinner at their place. Richard's house, technically. Big windows overlooking the bay. The kind of place surgeons buy when they make chief of staff. We were having steak. Richard liked his rare. Cut into it with the same precision he used in surgery. Ran into your brother-in-law today, Richard said, like he was mentioning the weather. How'd that go? I asked. He sweated through his scrubs presenting a routine appendectomy complication. Stammered through his timeline. Forgot basic protocol steps he's done 100 times. Nerves, guilt, or fear, hard to tell which. Richard took a sip of wine. I didn't say a word about Thanksgiving. Didn't mention you. Didn't mention the family drama. Just asked standard review questions the same way I would for any resident. He fell apart anyway. What happens now? I documented what I observed during the review, the same way I would for anyone. Communication concerns, performance under pressure. But between the existing complaints and this, he's building a pattern that won't look good when they're considering who stays. Iris set down her fork. Dad, you don't have to. I'm not doing this for you, Richard cut her off gently. I'm doing this because I watched a resident tell his family that his wife needed to be controlled. Any surgeon who thinks that way about women is a liability in my operating room. Period. 2 months later, Natasha called me from a number I didn't recognize. I only answered because I thought it might be a client. Kyle, I almost hung up. Didn't. Curiosity won. What? We need to talk. No, we don't. Please, I'm trying to apologize. 7 months too late. I know I was wrong. I threw away the invitations. I was jealous and petty. I'm in therapy now. Please, can we just talk? Natasha, I don't believe you. What? I don't believe you're sorry. I believe you're panicking because Garrett's career is stalling, and you're realizing that burning bridges has consequences. But that's not the same as being sorry. You're being cruel. You don't get to decide what's fair anymore. I'm your sister. You're someone who shares DNA with me. That's it. Kyle, please, I've called Mom and Dad off. I've told them to leave you alone. I've taken down all my posts. I'm doing everything I can to fix this. You can't fix this. Why not? Because fixing it would require you to actually change who you are fundamentally. And you won't. Silence. Then, what do you want from me? Nothing. That's the point. I want nothing from you. And if I just disappear from your life, you'll call off Iris's family? I laughed. You think Iris's family needs me to tell them to do anything? They make their own choices. And if they've decided Garrett's a liability because he said women need to be controlled, that's on him, not me. So you're just going to let his career die? I'm not doing anything. That's the beauty of it. I'm just living my life. She hung up. But Dad called 2 weeks later. Not to apologize. To ask for a favor. Kyle, I need your help selling the beach house. Why are you calling me? You're in real estate. I figured you could list it. No. I don't mix family and business. Too complicated. But you're my son. Am I? Funny how that works. I'm your son when you need something. The rest of the time I'm just background noise. That's not true. Dad, when's my birthday? Silence. Call Joel's firm if you want to sell it. But I'm not your guy anymore. Kyle. And Dad? Don't call me again unless you're ready to actually talk about why Natasha threw away my wedding invitations and why you let her. I hung up. Blocked his number. Blocked Mom's. Blocked Natasha's. 2 days later, my phone rang from an unfamiliar number. Kyle, it's Pastor Austin, from Cornerstone Community. Your mother attends my church. I remembered him. Pleasant enough. Pastor Austin, what can I do for you? I'm calling about your mother. She's struggling with this family situation. I was hoping we could talk about reconciliation. Is she heartbroken she missed my wedding? Or heartbroken that people know she missed it? Silence. Then, Kyle, I understand you're hurt, but your mother asked me to reach out. She's scared and doesn't know how to fix it. Then maybe she should reflect on why her own son doesn't talk to her. I'm trying to help heal a family. No, you're trying to make everyone comfortable without anyone changing. That's not healing. That's enabling. Kyle, if Mom wants forgiveness, she can start with honesty. Until then, we're done. I hung up. Iris found me on the couch that night. You okay? Yeah. Liar. I'm better than I was. That count? She sat down next to me. They're never going to get it. No, they're not. Part of me still wants them to. I know. That's pathetic. It's human. Iris's phone rang. She looked at the screen. It's my dad. She answered. Put it on speaker. Kyle there? Richard's voice. I'm here. Good. You should know. Garrett moved programs to County General. It's officially a lateral move, but everyone knows what it means. He's out of Mercy. I didn't ask you to do that, I said. I know. And I didn't do it. I documented what I observed during the review, the same way I would for anyone. The hospital decided he didn't belong at Mercy after a pattern of complaints and poor judgment under pressure. That's on him, not me. He hung up. Iris looked at me. You okay with that? Honestly? Yeah, I am. 4 months after Thanksgiving, the calls had stopped. The texts, too. Then Dad sent a text from a new number. We're having a family dinner Sunday. Uncle Lee will be there. He wants to see you. Sunday came. We showed up exactly on time. Mom opened the door. Older. Tired. Kyle. Iris. Thank you. Uncle Lee was already there, sitting at the head of the table. Natasha and Garrett on one side, empty chairs on the other. The pot roast sat in the middle of the table, steam rising, mashed potatoes going cold, green beans nobody would eat. Mom had set out the good china, the kind she only used when she was trying to control a situation. Wine glasses at every place setting except Lee's. He had water. We sat. Lee nodded. Kyle, Iris, good to see you. Nobody touched the food. Natasha reached for her wine glass, then thought better of it. Set her hand back in her lap. Garrett wiped his palms on his pants under the table. I could hear it. Iris scanned the exits. Front door behind us. Kitchen to the left. Her body language said she was mapping escape routes. Mom tried to fill the silence. Can I get anyone? No, Lee said. Not unkind, just firm. We're not doing pleasantries. Dad picked up his fork. Put it down. The clink against the plate was loud. I braced. Whatever was coming, it was coming now. Lee cleared his throat. I asked everyone here because this has gone on long enough. But we're doing this my way, which means honesty. No spin. Natasha started to say something. Lee held up one hand. She closed her mouth. He looked at Natasha. You threw away Kyle's wedding invitations. Why? Natasha's mouth opened, closed. I was jealous. I wanted my wedding to be first. So you sabotaged your brothers? I didn't mean... Yes, you did. Own it. She went quiet. Lee turned to Mom and Dad. You two knew something was wrong. Kyle called, emailed, texted. You ignored all of it. Why? Dad spoke quietly. It was easier to believe there was a mix-up than deal with conflict. So you chose comfort over your son? Mom's eyes filled. We love both our children. No, Lee said flatly. You love the idea of both children. You love Natasha because she's easy. Kyle, you tolerate. Silence. Lee looked at me. You've got every right to walk away and never look back. But before you do, they need to understand what they lost. He turned back to my parents. Kyle bought a house at 28, built a successful career, married a brilliant woman, and you don't know any of it because you never asked. I spoke. I don't need apologies that are about making you comfortable. I need you to actually understand what you did. We do understand, Dad said. No. You understand you got caught. You understand it's embarrassing. But you don't understand why 33 years of being second choice would make someone walk away. Natasha leaned forward. So what do we do? Stop making this about what you can do to fix it. This is just reality now. You made choices. I'm making mine. To abandon us? Mom asked. To protect myself? Iris spoke. The first time I met your family, within 5 minutes they were mocking Kyle. And the second they found out who my parents were, it changed completely. That's not love, that's transaction. Lee stood. I'm done here. Kyle, Iris, walk with me. We followed him outside. On the porch, Lee turned to us. They're not ready. Maybe they will be someday. Maybe not. But that's not your problem. Thanks for trying, I said. I didn't do it for them. I did it so you'd know you gave them every chance. Now you can move on without wondering. He hugged me, nodded at Iris, and left. In the truck, Iris took my hand. My phone buzzed. Text from Mom. We're your family. That has to mean something. I deleted it. How do you feel? Iris asked. Lighter. Good. We drove away from that house for the last time. The calls stopped eventually. The texts, too. Garrett left medicine within a year. Couldn't handle the reality that skill alone doesn't cut it when you've burned bridges with the people who matter. Last I heard, he's in pharmaceutical sales, making decent money, hating every minute. Natasha blamed everyone but herself. Still does, probably. That's her pattern. Always has been. Mom still tries to name-drop Iris's family at social events. Mentions that her daughter-in-law's father is chief of staff. People change the subject quickly. They know the story. Small social circles talk. Dad sends Christmas cards every year. Generic ones from the grocery store with no personal message. Just love Mom and Dad in Mom's handwriting. I don't open them anymore. They go straight into recycling. Uncle Lee calls every few weeks, just to check in. We got dinner last month. He asked how the real estate market was treating me. Told me about his garden. Normal conversation. No drama. No performance. Just family being family. And me? I'm selling houses. Making money. Building a life with someone who actually shows up. Iris and I bought a place with a yard the spring after that Thanksgiving. Got a dog. Named him something ridiculous because we could. The family I was born into taught me exactly how I didn't want to be treated. The family I chose taught me what I deserved. Turned out that was the lesson I needed most. Guys, we are so close to hit 100,000 subscribers on this channel. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. It really helps hit that 100,000 mark. Thanks for making this dream come true.